Hello, good morning. I'm Tracy, and I never stop thinking, actually. So doing this, talking here like this, really helps because I feel like I'm talking to someone, even though it's me, because all the thoughts, there's just too many. I write, and then I read what I've written, and I talk continually. It just doesn't stop. It's the way of things, which is why today I was going to ask disabled, disorder, or dynamic difference. Which is it? It's all of them, I think, isn't it? It depends where you are, it depends what's happening, it depends which way you look at it. I think that first diagnosed, I was horrified. I thought that I was never going to have a life I wanted. I'd dreamed that one day I would be surrounded by loads of friends and invited to social events, and even though I was 50, it was going to happen, and getting a diagnosis of something and having to recognise that difference often gets you rejected even before you've started, which is still something I don't understand, and why I talk about difference a lot, so that perhaps we can have a exchange of ideas that helps people understand it's just difference. Disabled, disordered, lots of us really feel both of those, especially in environments that are hostile to us. Professor Luke Bearden, who's the senior lecturer in autism studies at Sheffield Uni, he has an equation in which he says change the environment, not the person. But of course this isn't always practical, because an entire airport can't change just because I'm going to have a meltdown with too many things happening. And of course that feeds into people needing to understand that we are wired differently, so our sensory perceptions are so much heightened that's why we experience things like a meltdown and overload really quickly, when other people can't understand how something small could affect us. Dynamic difference. I would love being me with my autistic brain, ADHD behaviours, if the world understood. That's why I want the world to understand, so that more people can express a dynamic difference and not continually go out into the world and experience things that make them feel disabled and disordered. And in that sense, I know I was talking yesterday about recognition and identification. It's like a translation guide that we need, so that I can explain what's happening to me, but in ways that other people would understand. I said before, I had an interview with someone and I explained lots of sensory stuff, and she said, you just get a bit irritated, and that, got to put it in language. It's not like that at all, where I can explain. One of the really interesting things is Damien Milton. He's another lecturer in autism studies. He's at Kent. He wrote about what he calls the double empathy problem. So people presume we don't have empathy, and he says no, it's just that we have different ways of expressing and processing. And I think it's a different timeline. So we might go facts, figures, research, then feelings. Somebody else might go feelings, facts, figures. Somebody gave me an example of somebody who had been sacked from a particular role, and an autistic member of staff said, oh, that's good because it makes the timetable easier. And another friend of mine said, yeah, but we have to go for the feelings first, then you can say that. But I thought this was a really good example. It doesn't mean we haven't got them, just sometimes we need to stop and process and do it in a different order. And the way I explained that, it's fighting a fire. So if you walk into a room, and for me, because my sensory perceptions are huge, I will see everything. Specks of dust, dirty skirting boards, coffee cup marks, dirty things in the sink, the lights, the curtains, and all of that is hitting me when I walk in. And I explained in my piece yesterday, I have to talk about it to calm myself down. So the house to me, like, I'm putting in words that explain, it's like the house is on fire and I've got to put the fire out. And even if your mum is standing there, I'm not going to have a cosy chat till I've put the fire out. But it's not that I haven't seen her and I don't want a cosy chat. It's I've got to do it that way round. So put the fire out, and then go, oh, hey, tell me about anything you want to tell me about. I don't like the how are you. We'll do something else on that. We don't like how are yous because we don't know what we're supposed to say. I know there's a script in the neurotypical world that you go, how are you? You go, very well, thank you. How are you? You go, very well, thank you. And then you walk on. But that's a bit too confusing for me. I'm like, do I say what? No? So anyway, that was some thoughts today that popped into my head round the corner. So I thought I'd put them here now. Be great to hear from you if you have any thoughts you'd like to pop out there. See you soon.